In this video, I'm going to show you two very low-tech methods for photographing your artwork. I use a small graphite sketchbook drawing as the example here, but much of what I discuss can be applied to larger works too. The first method is using daylight from a window. It doesn't take a lot of time to set up and usually doesn't require much editing. The ideal light condition is an overcast day because direct sunlight is too harsh for your artwork and you risk losing a lot of detail. The setup can be very simple. Here my sketchbook is laid flat on top of a blank sketch pad, which gives the work a neutral surface for the background. I'm using a big window in my living room as my light source. You want to pay close attention to the time of day and the direction of the sun. In this example, the sun is lighting the work from above and gives the paper even lighting from top to bottom. Keep in mind that a spot that isn't ideal at 9 in the morning might be perfect at noon since the sun has moved in that 3 hours. I want to point out a harsh shadow that the sketchbook is casting on the paper and how to help diffuse that light so it's less noticeable. A quick way to diffuse light is by bouncing it. Check out the difference between the cast shadow when I bounce the light using this small sketchbook. The left side of the shadow is much more diffused than the right side. Notice the various temperatures we see here. The cover of this blue watercolor pad bounces cool light onto the bottom of the artwork. When you look closely, you can see there's a tint of blue light being cast onto the paper. The top and the bottom of the artwork look uneven now. This is an important thing to pay attention to because you want your photo to be as true to your perception of the artwork as possible. It can also be distracting to see so many different temperatures in one picture. Even the temperature of these two white papers are different. The drawing of the cat is on warmer paper, while the paper that is used for the background is more of a true white. Back to bouncing light to diffuse shadows. To diffuse the light evenly, I'm using a sketch pad that's larger than the cat drawing. You can use anything rigid and white to bounce the light, like a spare piece of foam core or a white piece of paper taped to cardboard. Place the diffuser on the sides where shadows are present. Next, place your camera or phone directly over the artwork. I recommend turning on the grid function of your camera or your phone so you can have something to visually align the edges of the paper with. Distortion in an image is really distracting. One common type is a rounding of the edges. This just means that you're too close to the subject and it can be fixed by moving the camera further away and zooming in instead. While you're lining up the edges of the artwork, watch for distortion. Does the bottom of the image look thicker than the top? Do the left and the right sides look equal, or is one thinner than the other? Adjust the angle of your phone until everything is nice and square. It takes a bit of practice to train your eyes to spot and correct subtle distortion, and then you can snap the photo. I use the Photos apps on my iPhone to edit images in this tutorial, but there are lots of other free apps available that have even more features and editing options. The very basics for editing your images are to crop and straighten, and then adjust the color balance, brightness, and saturation. First, crop out any unnecessary space around the artwork by dragging the corners in towards the edge of the paper. For distortion, you can use the horizontal and vertical adjustment tools. These tools change the angle of the image to look square. Use the straighten tool to adjust the rotation of the image so that it isn't presented at a tilt. Hold the phone away from your face after a few adjustments to see if the changes look square. I want to leave a small, even border around the sketchbook to give the viewer context. It's up to you if you want to crop the image all the way down to the paper edges, but I do recommend being consistent with your cropping. If you decide to crop down to the edges, make sure you crop out the spiral too. I like to adjust the highlights and shadows to bring back detail that might have been lost due to too much light or lack of light. When you tap your screen, a subtle icon will appear at the top of the image that reads Cropped Original. This lets you know that the unedited version of your image will briefly flash so that you can see the changes so far. Next, I bump up the contrast and brightness. You want to adjust both just enough so that you don't lose detail. If you push either too far, the detail in the light areas will appear blown out, or the dark tones will expand and you end up with little detail in the dark parts of the image. Since this cat drawing doesn't have any color, I'm going to pull down the saturation. I do want to keep some of the saturation since showing the warm tone of the paper is important to me. Remember that you can tap the screen to see your changes compared to the original. And that's it. The final image is brighter and more even in tone. The sketchbook is in the center of the page without any distortion, and the temperature of the overall image is less distracting. For the second method, I'll show you how to use household lamps to light your artwork. Maybe you want to document your work and the daylight is poor that day, or the sun has gone down already. Documenting your creative process is important for many reasons. A series of in-progress photos can be enlightening to look back on, or you could share a work-in-progress shot with your creative community and ask for feedback. Plus, it's a great way to shed that daunting feeling that all art must be complete before sharing it. I want to start by talking about the different light temperatures found in light bulbs. In basic terms, light temperature is measured in degrees of Kelvin, or K for short. A range of 2,700 K to 5,000 K is typically found in houses. The lower the number, the warmer the temperature of light appears. The higher the number, the cooler the light will look. Ideally, the bulbs you use will mimic the temperature of daylight, which is on the cooler end of the spectrum. Gather a few of the bulbs in your house and start by looking at the information printed on them. Look for something like 2700 K. For this method, we'll be using 2 bulbs at the same time, so try to find 2 that match in temperature and brightness. Keep in mind that the age and type of bulb will affect the amount of brightness emitted. I used 2 lamps to test bulbs against each other to find 2 that match. Having bulbs that are close to the same temperature and brightness will lessen the amount of editing later. This is especially important when photographing artworks that have color. Controlling the light is key for this method. Make sure there are no additional light sources when photographing, including any sunlight. Start by propping the artwork against a clean, neutral background. Place the 2 lamps on the left and right side at the same height and distance from the artwork. The direction of the light should be pointed at the center of the work. To avoid distortion, ensure the work is parallel to the wall and the camera. Depending on the size and weight of the artwork, try hanging it from the wall using some binder clips and tacks instead. The same editing process I showed for method 1 applies here. This is a sped-up version of the process that I used for this photo. Remember to spend time fixing the distortion and tap the screen to compare the original image to the edits that you make. The edited version is so much brighter and cleaner. Ideally, your artwork is photographed with an excellent camera and edited using a program with more than just the basic tools. Sometimes access to a special camera and editing software just isn't possible, but you can still get excellent photos using the techniques I talk about in this video. Things like a neutral background, even lighting, and avoiding distortion go a really long way. Both methods are relatively accessible in that they can be done at home using things that you already have, and you don't need a special camera or editing software. Even if you are field drawing at the park, you can photograph your work using indirect sunlight and edit it right on your phone. Try experimenting with concepts from both methods and find what works for your situation.